One sliced sole could leave you behind, far from food, water, and shelter. Yet humans crossed stone, thorns, ice, and burning ground long before modern shoes. Their feet were not protected by magic or made from some tougher material. They were trained from childhood, then covered when the landscape became too dangerous. That combination adaptation plus selective protection kept each vulnerable step from becoming a death sentence. Start with a baby's foot. Soft skin, flexible bones, and almost no experience of rough ground. Now imagine that foot meeting earth every day as the child crawls, stands, and walks. The skin responds to repeated friction and pressure by building a thicker outer layer. That callus is still living protection, not a dead wooden plate glued underneath. It bends, senses pressure, and warns the walker before a sharp edge cuts deeper. Modern comparisons show that feet grown habitually barefoot also develop a different shape. Toes can spread more freely, while arches and joints learn to manage load without rigid support. This does not make every barefoot person identical or guarantee a perfectly healthy foot. It means the body develops around the work it repeatedly performs. The nervous system changes too, because every step delivers detailed information through the sole. A skilled barefoot walker does not simply stand downward and hope the ground behaves. The foot tests, grips, shifts weight, and shortens a stride when the surface becomes uncertain. On rough ground, placing the foot lightly can reveal a hidden point before full weight arrives. Running technique can change as well, although no single landing style belongs to everyone. Studies of habitually barefoot runners often find forefoot or midfoot landings that soften sudden collision forces. The ankle, arch, and calf then behave like a spring rather than a rigid hammer. That adaptation has limits, and ancient feet were never immune to injury. Sharp stone could slice skin, thorns could puncture it. Heat and cold could damage tissue. A blister could open, collect dirt, and turn a small inconvenience into a serious infection. So survival also depended on decisions made before the foot touched danger. People could choose softer routes, move during cooler hours, and avoid invisible hazards in darkness. They could slow down, follow an experienced track, or clear sharp debris around a camp. After injury, stopping mattered. Cleaning, covering, resting, and sharing loads protected the damaged walker. These responses leave little direct evidence, so we should not invent a universal prehistoric first aid manual. Yet mobility itself shows why a group could not casually abandon every person with a wounded sole. Foragers carried food, fuel, tools, infants, and knowledge between places that mattered. If one walker slowed, companions could redistribute weight or delay movement while the injury closed. That help was not guaranteed, and no footprint records the conversation behind it. That the same cooperative logic visible in other healed ancient injuries also applies to damaged feet. What survives more clearly is the moment people added technology beneath the foot. The oldest directly dated footwear includes Fort Rock sandals from Oregon, around 10,000 years old. Their makers twisted and wove sagebrush bark into shaped platforms that stay attached while walking. These were not random leaves tied on during an emergency. They required preparation and practiced construction. Someone had to recognize useful plants, harvest them at the right condition, and turn brittle material into cordage. The finished sandal also had to fit closely enough to stay secure without cutting the skin it protected. Other caves preserve different solutions, including plant fiber sandals and footwear made from animal hide. That variety matters because footwear was probably reinvented and adjusted many times. A desert traveler needed insulation from hot grit and abrasive rock, while a cold traveler needed trapped warmth. A flexible wrap could protect skin without removing all sensation or movement. A woven sole sacrificed itself against stone, then could be repaired or replaced. The archaeological record almost certainly hides the earliest examples, because bark, grass, sinew, and leather rot. The oldest surviving sandal therefore marks preservation, not necessarily a first human idea of a shoe. Researchers have searched skeletons for an earlier clue instead. One study noticed weaker, smaller toe bones in some people living roughly 40,000 years ago. The big toe remained strong, while the lesser toes appeared to grip the ground less forcefully. Foot covering could produce that pattern, but a bone pattern is not a fossilized boot. It is a plausible signal, not a date stamped on the invention of footwear. And even after shoes existed, people did not need to wear them every hour. Bare feet offered sensitivity, quiet movement, ventilation, and no object that had to be carried or repaired. Footwear cost time, gathering fiber or hide, processing it, shaping it, binding it, and fixing wear. The sensible choice depended on terrain, weather, speed, distance, and the condition of the walker. That is why barefoot and shoe wearing are not two separate stages of human progress. They are tools in the same system, chosen according to risk. On familiar soil, a trained foot could be the lightest and most responsive option. Across ice, thorns, scorching sand, or broken rock, a covering could preserve the journey. Ancient humans did not walk because their soles could ignore pain. They walked because skin adapted, senses guided each step, and communities managed injuries. Then, whenever biology reached its limit, human hands extended the foot with technology. The first shoe was not a fashion statement. It was a removable piece of landscape survival.